from October to March, even if you stood outside all day.
And that's why the UK government and NHS England advise that everybody, and that's where the grey area.
Most of the D3 sold in the world today is
how an ingredient can be £1 billion ingredient globally.
It was sourced a while ago, almost exclusively.
This is for people through life. Welcome back to episode 4 of our ProTec Nutra podcast, Beyond the Bottle. I'm Gary Parker and I'm here today with Josh Perry and Natalie Clark.
Hello. And we should be coming to you from day 1 of VitaFoods Barcelona. We hope to see you there. Good luck with the traffic. We're on stand UWA90. If you want to swing by, come and say hello. It should be a great show. We're really looking forward to seeing you all.
Autographs, obviously we'll be celebrities now.
Optional.
So,
I will only sign chests, no other body parts. Chests and
so I will
brochures.
only sign bums.
Yeah. There's always one.
Episode 4, we wanted to talk a little bit more about our branded ingredients. We've not touched on a couple of them. So we thought we'd delve a little bit further into that. The best place to start is our biggest sector, vitamin D. So it's one of the most talked about ingredients in the nutraceuticals. What is vitamin D? There are a couple of different forms, vitamin D2, vitamin D3. But a lot of us and most of us perceive that we get our vitamin D from the sun.
Yeah, which I think is a reasonable assumption. However, something I didn't know until fairly recently is that actually from October to March, even if you stood outside all day with very little clothing on, you would not absorb any vitamin D whatsoever. It is completely impossible to absorb vitamin D at a therapeutic level from October to March in the UK.
And that's why the UK government and NHS England advise that everybody needs to be supplementing with vitamin D during those winter months.
It was COVID, wasn't it, that propelled vitamin D into the spotlight. A very important time for us, a busy period for us, and one that vitamin D came out of as a key product.
Which we already knew, to be fair. I mean, vitamin D is a cornerstone of the nutraceuticals industry because it is such an important vitamin for, everybody really. Everyone should be taking vitamin D. We already knew it, but thanks to COVID, the rest of the UK, Europe and possibly the world found out how important it is. So
yeah, and there are different forms of vitamin D, and that's where the grey area perceives, and hopefully we'll talk a little bit more about D2 v D3 as we go along here. But as Natalie said, it's non-negotiable now in your supplement range. People are taking it as part of their multivitamin, they're taking it as a standalone. You can get bits from the sun, but not through October and March. You can get little bits from your diet, from eggs and dairy and things like that, but generally we're probably not getting enough. And that's why it's really key for our immunity, for bone health, that we're all taking vitamin D supplements. So that leads us on to sort of where we are and our product categories. So our product categories are all vitamin D3. And following our trend, they're all plant-sourced. So we've got VitaShine. VitaShine is sort of the original plant-sourced vitamin D3. It's sourced from lichen and has been around now for around 15 years. It's very green, it's very natural, it's got a wonderful story, and a product that we've seen great growth and is widely accepted across the market. We now manufacture all of our branded ingredients in the UK, but lichen is sort of the Hail Mary, the original. Wild harvested lichen
version.
From various locations around the world, which does have its question marks sometimes when it's wild harvested, but supply has always been great and we've never had any issues there. Then we move on to D3V.
Algae source. Algae grown in the UK.
Absolutely.
Quite unique.
much more readily available, can be cultivated in the UK, has a much shorter growth period that the algae grows, and can be extracted. And that was launched, I want to say 2017, so 9 years ago. And we did expect that to completely supersede VitaShine, because naturally, because we can cultivate it, it's cheaper. But they both continue to be big products for us, and again, made in the UK. And then EirVit.
The new kid on the block.
The new kid on the block.
Exciting. Pine source, molecularly identical to our D3V.
Should we just say that most of the D3 sold in the world today is animal source?
Absolutely. Lanolin.
Which people don't realise.
And what you believe is lanolin isn't always lanolin. And as you say, you don't realise that your vitamin D3 is from an animal, and unfortunately there are still some supply chains around there that means that it's not always from lanolin, and it can be from horrible places such as carcasses, and traceability. So why should you use plant source D3? Not only you need to be vegan, absolutely not, but your carbon footprint and your traceability, something we pride ourselves on. We know that, as Gary mentioned, our algae is grown actually here in the building we are in today. We know the source, we know our end-to-end supply chain, whereas with all forms of animal nutrition, that isn't always the case.
No, whereas with us, it's British made, British sourced, ethically sourced, full accountability, traceability. It's just a greener, more ethical option. I think whether you're vegan, vegetarian or not, I think it's just the smarter choice ethically.
You want to know what you're putting in your body.
Of course you do.
And you want it to be good for you. You want it to be green. You don't want anything from animal source. As you say, though, whether you're a vegan or a non-vegan, it's cleaner. It's locally made. What more is there to like?
You've got things like, if we are using lanolin, you've got sheep dip and nasty chemicals and things like that they used to extract it. So although you might eat meat, and that's absolutely fine, you still wouldn't want to put all these chemicals and harsh solvents in your body. So the traceability isn't always there, and the consumer awareness isn't always there around what the source of that material is. And labelling regulations don't require you to label the source. So vitamin D is called cholecalciferol, that's its chemical name, and you can label it as cholecalciferol. You don't have to put that I extracted this from a cow's spine, because that doesn't make good marketing. So
there are some big labels out there that are clearly still using animal source D3, but not declaring it.
Unfortunately so. Unfortunately, although we talk about regulations and traceability, there is still a grey area in the nutraceutical industry and the food industry and all industries out there. There are loopholes that people get
Not with
around.
us, though.
Absolutely.
Completely transparent in every way.
We talked about the big brands using animal D3, but there are some big brands using plant source D3, and that's great, but there are ones using plant source vitamin D. What's vitamin D? Why are they not declaring it as D3?
D2?
I would think so. So D2, although is a source of vitamin D, is ergocalciferol. There are numerous studies out there that show that it's not the best form of vitamin D that you can be taking.
No, I mean, there was that study a couple of months ago that came out. I need to source link it. But it said, basically, if you take vitamin D2, what it can actually do is leach some of the vitamin D from your body. So it can actually deplete your vitamin D levels that only vitamin D3 will positively affect your levels. So that, I think, was quite an interesting study.
Yeah, so you think you're taking vitamin D, but actually you're doing your body worse.
The opposite, which is wild, really. But yeah, thank God for people just digging in science and research.
Yeah, it's 87% less bioavailable than D3.
Yeah.
So you're having to put so much more overage in there to get what you think you're getting. It's not bioavailable. Your body's not absorbing it correctly. And quite often, people claiming to have vitamin D because it lacks stability and bioavailability, it's been assayed. It doesn't exist because it's so poorly stable. It's no longer in that supplement that you want.
I guess the key selling points for D2 is vegan.
Absolutely.
Mushroom being the main source.
And for many years before VitaShine, there wasn't that source of vegan or plant source vitamin D3. So it was absolutely the right choice, but there is a lot of brands and consumers out there that now know about vitamin D3 and want to make that move from D2 to D3.
I think the amount of things, I mean, I think I've read somewhere that for you to get enough vitamin D from mushrooms, you have to eat something like 7 or 8 punnets, whole punnets, for you to get a viable dose of vitamin D. Like, which is wild. No one's doing that. But it does also beg the question, how many mushrooms does it take to create a viable dose of vitamin D2? Whereas something like, our blends from algae and lichen, it's just so much greener. Such a greener option.
And there isn't just one fits all, and that's why we've got a tailor-made for all options. We've got the VitaShine, the D3V and the EirVit. We support you with any formulation requirements, why one might fit better than the other. There is cost implications to all three. The cheapest isn't always the best for your brand. For us, they're all cholecalciferol. They're all meeting the same EP, USP monographs for cholecalciferol, but there is the premium factor that might give that edge to your brand, whereas some of the major food brands or nutraceutical brands where price is more of an impact for them, they might go for that cheaper option, but while still having that vegan, that kosher, that halal, that traceability factor.
But a natural replacement for lanolin D3 is EirVit.
Absolutely. Much closer in price, but still getting those cholecalciferol claims, those EFSA claims that you need to put on your pack. And it's a like-for-like replacement. If you're using 25 micrograms of lanolin-derived D3, you can replace any of our brands with 25 micrograms of plant source.
And the different formats, of course. So oil crystal powder.
Yeah, all made in the UK, tailored to meet the demand of your product or your blend. We're stocking it all in the UK to give you fast lead times. We've got partners across Europe, across the world.
It's incredibly rare that we come across any stock issues with the vitamin D3.
COVID, that was our sort of one and only time.
Yeah.
It's a great problem to have, for having more orders than you have stock.
But we're also in charge of our own destiny, effectively. We make what we need.
Yeah.
And if we haven't got stock, it's our fault.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fresh stock, most of the time. Fresh batches, you're not buying old stock.
And we're fully transparent around the origin, around the questions, and helping you grow that plant-sourced sector within your brand. Help. But is there more focus on plant source, or is it just vitamin D we're seeing more plant source?
I think plant source generally is turning into kind of the standard, if I'm honest. I think it's no longer niche. I think it's just what everyone's doing now.
It's not just an alternative for vegan eaters. It's normal people. I eat meat, but I'd always look at a vegan option for something like a D3.
It's a genuinely cleaner option. So why wouldn't you go for the genuinely cleaner option?
And a better story as well.
Yeah.
A much better story.
Definitely.
And locally sourced.
Yeah. UK made, UK sourced. It's a win-win.
Absolutely. Which probably leads us on to our next branding ingredient, which we haven't talked much about, which is Phytodroitin. So Phytodroitin is our plant-based alternative to chondroitin. Chondroitin is, again, mainly animal sourced, so bovine, avian, porcine, or sadly shark from occasion to occasion. So it was developed to be that alternative option for the consumers, something much more green, traceable, and ticking those vegan, halal, kosher boxes that we need to tick.
Yeah, chondroitin is one of those ingredients that has been around for decades, and along with glucosamine, is widely accepted as one of those products to help with your joint health, and has never been challenged. No official claims against it with it.
It's a strange one, that. How an ingredient can be £1 billion ingredient globally but has no claims, and therefore it's difficult. So how do you market it? But it's there, it's within our bodies, it helps support our cartilage and our joints, so it's great for athletes recovering from injury, it's great for people generally who might be older and struggling with joint health.
It's just widely accepted as the gold standard for joints and bones, and to be able to offer a plant-based alternative, because I mean, like you said, bovine and also shark. I mean, it was sourced a while ago almost exclusively from sharks, wasn't it? And
people would be surprised to know that both chondroitin and glucosamine are non-plant products. You don't really think about it, do you? You see a white tablet, you accept it without knowing
well, it
where
looks
it's come
clean
from.
when it's nice and white and shiny, doesn't it? But actually a bit murky when you dive in.
So glucosamine is typically from shellfish.
Absolutely.
It's also more recently been produced from corn, so a vegan option. But chondroitin has always been from avian, bovine, shark, and never really been challenged until recently.
And we want to, on our plant source journey, not just disrupt the market, but we want to be there for the consumers. Chondroitin, if you're recovering from an injury or you're older and you follow, you have religious beliefs or personal beliefs in being vegan, and you're advised by a doctor, well, you need to take chondroitin, I'll write you a prescription for some bovine, and that doesn't work for you. It becomes a, well, what can I do? So Phytodroitin is that gap in the market. It will help you on hopefully that road to recovery or prevention. It's got a long-standing market dominance. It's very familiar. People see chondroitin on the shelves, and now hopefully we can start to see Phytodroitin on those shelves and offer that market. Again, UK manufactured, from seaweed, so a blend of rich mucopolysaccharide extract seaweeds that carefully comprise together to mimic the mucopolysaccharide structure of animal-derived chondroitin. Very clean, easy to use in a powder format. It's been good for tablets and capsules, which is where you see most chondroitin, but you can also get it in a liquid form. You could mix this, it's water dispersible, and using just 400 milligrams, it means that is much more manageable, and you can combine it with the glucosamine.
Yeah, or the Volagen.
Absolutely. Volagen not only is beauty, but as we talked about before, is abundant in most of your body and helps make up everything, including those joints and cartilage.
It's a strong duo together.
I think traditionally as well, chondroitin was always focused at the elderly population, based on joints, etc. Whereas nowadays, sports is a big part of it. So Phytodroitin for us, we're looking at athletes using it.
Definitely.
Not just the elderly, This is for people through life.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, anyone that wants to take care of their joints in any way. I mean, it's not just, the older generation that have dodgy joints. It can be anyone, runners, anything like that. You want to make sure that you can keep doing the sport you love.
Also seeing some interesting thoughts on the animal market, animal sector for Phytodroitin.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and dogs, joint issues.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the amount of people that give supplements to their dogs is very high, and it makes sense as well. I mean, you want to give them the best quality of life that you can for as long as you can. I mean, those lovely long walks that they adore, you want to keep doing that for as long as possible.
Do people look after their pets more than they do themselves? Absolutely.
Yeah, probably.
Absolutely. I buy very expensive, lovely dog food, but I'll be buying in the reduced section that's about for myself. And people absolutely want to. So supplementing your dogs. But I think people are more conscious, not just in pets, but in themselves, about not waiting for a problem to arise. Don't wait until you've got a joint issue, or don't wait until you've got loads of wrinkles and you're like, oh, what do I do now?
Yeah. Well, I think it's preventative, but I think that's a trend we're seeing generally in the market, that people aren't just waiting for, like you say, a problem to arise, but it's a preventative thing with both us and our pets. It's about making sure that we carry on a great quality of life for as long as possible.
And that's where our 3 ingredients fit nicely into that. So collagen, helping with that collagen deficiency that we lose at the age of 25, helps our wrinkles, is abundant in our body, vitamin D for our immunity, and Phytodroitin, again, for our joints, sport health, help us as we get older. So that gives us a little bit more of an insight into our branded ingredients, so Volagen, Phytodroitin, and our plant source alternatives to D3, and how we're looking to change the ingredients that built the category aren't necessarily the ones that will define the future, and people are looking towards that plant source shift. So if you do want to learn more, we are here at UWA 90 in Barcelona, so come and see one of the team.
Yeah, we have a coffee machine. Swing by for a coffee and a chat.
Because the queues are horrific.
If you want to know a bit more about these ingredients, come and see us. We're here for the duration of the Barcelona Expo. 3 days here in Spain. Stand UWA 90. Come see myself, come see Josh, come see Natalie, or one of the team.
And remember, as always, to follow us on LinkedIn. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok at ProTec Nutra. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel to keep up to date so you don't miss an episode.
And any questions, you can always email us at info@protecnutra.com. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Bye.
See you, Barcelona.